Good morning. So we're gonna do this today. We got the hubs and the dyno area all set up. Let's look at that. What a unit. So what I'm doing now is we set up another wall here because of the blue cabinets down here. That's gonna hold all of the lug nuts, all the accessory cables like the Holley, the HP, the UpRev, ECU tech, all the fun stuff that makes everything happen. Gonna be over here on this wall. I still gotta add some boards. But today we are actually gonna be testing the main lines. I'm pretty pumped on that. We got everything wired the other day, actually yesterday. I got everything powered up. I got the printer settings, I got the internet, everything is ready to go. So all we have to do today is bolt a car on. I think we're gonna bolt on 2 cars. I think we're gonna do the S15 for a turbo application. Obviously 1J G30 770, 1JZ VVTi, and a Link ECU with E85 and ID 1000s, 1050Xs actually. So I'm just gonna clean this thing up, get it ready, and we're gonna test that. So we're gonna try to just see all the different settings, and we're gonna take you guys along to see the new and improved piece of equipment. So just bear with us. We're gonna get this little area cleaned up just a little bit more, and then we'll start bolting this thing on. And then the next car, we're gonna do Darren's E30, or not E30, E90 has a LS3 in it. So we're gonna see what that thing makes. We already have our numbers from the old dyno, but we're actually pretty excited to see the correct numbers and how well these things will perform. So be right back. So it's a new day, but we did get the Silvia washed. We got it bolted up to the new hub dynos, and now we're ready to go through and tune it. I did start tuning it the other day just to kind of get familiar with the dyno and how the actual runs work. And then we kind of ran into like O2 sensor problem on the CAN side of my car, so I went and put a new Bosch sensor on it, topped it off with some E85, and then now we're gonna see what we can make. Beforehand it was making 369 on gate pressure. That's right where it was left off and on the old dyno. So we're gonna actually kind of up it. I know I'm still limited with fuel, but I'm kind of just looking for more consistent numbers, and then just constantly watch injector duty cycle. I'm not shooting for the moon on here. I think we ended it at 18 to 20 psi, and we made like 515 on the dyno, the other dyno. So again, I'm not looking for high horsepower numbers, just kind of looking for more reliability on the tuning side, because obviously something changed a little bit. Wide open throttle, it was going like 2.0, so that led me to believe that the CAN lambda O2 sensor was bad. So because obviously with 2.0 2.5 AFRs / lambda, I tune in lambda personally, there would be kind of like a known breakup issue where it just kind of fall on its face or make no power, and it was making consistent power up top, and it never broke up. So I just think it's a sensor that's bad. It's the original sensor from 2019, so not always a bad idea to change it anyways. Topped it off fresh E85, and we're gonna see what she gets down. Quick little rundown: Link Fury with a spaghetti or Petty spaghetti wiring harness. Shout out to Scott Petty, he's the original one that did that. Have never had a single issue with wiring. Such a great dude, love to have him in my corner. So G35 or G30 770 Pulsar. Not a true Garrett, but we are a huge dealer for Pulsar, and they have never steered us wrong. I've probably sold over 100 units already, and not one single issue. So injector dynamics 1050Xs, I may have already covered all this a CD09 trans, a stage 2 or 3 350Z clutch, and a Z33 rear end with diff and axles. Nothing too crazy, all custom intercooler piping. We use the stock VVTi V-band, or stock VVTi exhaust manifold, welded the flange at the bottom, and then just bolted it up, made a custom downpipe exhaust all the way back. So again, nothing crazy. Oh, in-tank pump is a D-Torque 340, so that's where we're limited. I'm not shooting for the moon. Like I said before, not looking to break the 1JZ VVTi record. This is an unopened car, unopened motor, no ARP head studs. Although I do have them, and I do have a head gasket for it, just in case when that does pop. But this thing is a ripper. It has ripped since 2020. I got the car in 2019. Obviously, you're kind of along with the journey, and then I think 2022 is when I put the big turbo on. So it made like 330, 340. I don't recall the exact number, but there is a video on the YouTube. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We're gonna turn on the mainline dyno. It's already plugged in. And then start making some power. I'm gonna play around with the map sensors eventually. So they have map one or map sensor, both 7-bar maps. You can put them pretty much anywhere in the system. I'm gonna put one on the turbo, and then I could even put one on the other side of the intercooler, just to see how much is actually flowing, if I'm losing any kind of efficiency. But I'm not gonna go too crazy into that. This is definitely a system that we're gonna have to play with a little bit more. So we're actually looking for 2 pro mods, and when I mean pro mods, like 2,000, 2,500 horsepower or above. We have one lined up. It should be around 3,000 horsepower. It's a notchback Mustang, and pretty excited to see that. I want to put something on here that is going to help us market a little bit more into the drag world. We obviously do a lot of drag racing cars, but we definitely want to start doing more drag racing aspect of tunes, because this will actually simulate 1/8 mile passes, 1/4 mile passes. We can actually dial in your trans brake. We can just dial over the whole overall tune. We can definitely dial in a lot better. So anyways, enough with the talking. We're gonna go ahead and get into the car. We're gonna get everything set up, and then we're gonna start doing some minor steady state, just to make sure the O2 sensor is correct now. And then we'll start making pulls and then adding some boost. We're gonna keep the timing around 18 degrees right now. That's where it was at beforehand. I just wanna, like I said, just get everything cleaned up and then see where we're at. All right, so it is in cold start mode right now, but you can see that the lambda is reading 0.85 on cold start. It's about 104 degrees, and then we're connected to the Link ECU. So we didn't have any problem with it reading until it was more up in the higher RPM. So right now we're gonna make sure this thing gets warmed up, get to operating temp, and then start looking into make sure the air fuel ratio doesn't get pegged to like one. See, about it started from slowly going from 5,000 where it was 0.83 lambda, and then when it got to 5,800 it started going 0.93. And then it just slowly just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and then up the top of the map it was 2.4 lambda, which, like I said, it leads me to believe that's just a bad O2 sensor, because at 0.2 or 2.4 lambda, this thing would not be running. It would be pretty much dead lean and breaking up. There'd be a serious problem. It would not be making consistent power. Let's see where the see if we can. I'm still learning all the hotkeys, right? So it made 359. I'm gonna zoom that in for you real quick. Yeah, so I made 359. And realistically, it should not have made anywhere near that with that much, with that big of a lean spot. So again, we're gonna go ahead and just start tuning it. Start doing steady state. I'm gonna set you up on a little A-frame and then go from there. So it's a very healthy 360, 328. Lambda was 0.8, 0.81 wide open throttle, so the O2 sensor did in fact fix it. So we know that the tune wasn't faulty, it just needed O2 sensor. And that's the difference between open and closed loop too, is if it was just locked in and we were at the track, if it was automatically detecting that the air-fuel ratio was not where it should be, like the target air-fuel ratio, it would have been really upset. So for a track car only, this is where we're going to leave it. But so this is going to be the straight map where I'm going to leave it at as far as most drifting tracks. 360. I'm not really going to try to push it any farther. I might clean it up a little bit, take a little bit of or maybe add like a degree or two of timing at 16 degrees, and then, or 16 degrees, a degree or two of timing, so it would bump it up from 18 to 20 because we're on ethanol, and then just to kind of clean it up a little bit top end, but we won't touch the boost for the drifting map. But most of the other maps, we're going to keep it around 18 degrees of timing, and we're going to add a little bit of boost. So we're going to go ahead and save this map and then start going towards the higher horsepower stuff. just going to show you what I'm actually looking at. So this is your RPM log, so it tells you where you're at, from 2300 to 7300. Down below is your actual map pressure. It peaks at 32, so it's roughly about 18 psi, and then it tapers down to about 15 to 16 psi. We're also constantly looking at injector angle, or ignition angle, not injector angle, ignition angle. That'll actually tell your true ignition angle, along with lambda. We're also making sure the battery voltage doesn't go down. And while we're doing all of that, we also want to make sure your injector duty cycle, top of the log and map, isn't too crazy. It's about 73% right now. So we're going to go ahead and add a little bit of boost and see where we're at. Alright, so what we did here is from 4500 to 7500, it went from about 20% duty cycle, and we upped it to 30%. So we're going to see where it ends up boost wise. So it should be about 17, 18 psi, but we're going to just double check it. Remember, this number right here is 360, 328. That's at 15 pounds. We're going to stop the log, stop, and now we're just going to make sure the air fuel ratios are still good. Could add about 5% fuel. So that was about peak was about 19 psi. So 410 at 19 psi. Not bad. Injector duty cycle is about 80%. So we need about 5% fuel from 5,500 to about 7,000. We do that and then we'll come back. Alright, so we went ahead and added 5% fuel where it needed to be, and what we're going to do is hit stop. We're going to go ahead and proceed with the new dyno pool. We didn't change anything other than adding 5% of fuel, reaching it up just a little bit. 0.85 lambda wide open throttle, you know that you have to add 5% if your target air fuel to get down to 0.8. Super simple math. And HP Academy, they'll teach you that. And mind you, I don't personally tune a whole bunch nowadays. Pretty much just only my own personal vehicles. We have Darren, that is the in-house dedicated tuner. Mind blowing is how much knowledge he knows and what he knows about. So definitely a good dude to have around. Appreciate him, and I know he's pretty excited about these his new late birthday and early Christmas or late Christmas presents. So it's not terrible. I dig it. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna do a couple more pulls, keep adding some fuel. You know what we're doing in here, so I'm just gonna keep you guys out here and see where it leads you at the max horsepower level that we're gonna shoot for. Alright, so last pull it made 458, 413, and this is the log. Zoom in real quick, right? So we have a problem with the injector duty cycle. It's running out of fuel. The pump's not enough to keep up. So pretty much it made 22 psi across the board, but up top it starts going 0.85 to 0.9 air fuel ratio, and the injector duty cycle is 98%. So what that means is I'm going to back it down to 30% duty cycle, so it would be hitting around the 415 mark, and about 18 to 19 psi. I don't want to hurt this engine. We'll need a bigger pump. Again, I'm not shooting for high horsepower, but I do want to make sure it's efficient, and I'd like to mess around with it on the street. So if we can hit like the 550 mark with like a 525 pump, we will. But for the meantime, we're just gonna kind of just set it right there. We're gonna do one more last pull because I dropped it back down. We're just gonna make sure that log is perfect. We're gonna get you guys on the tripod, do the pull, show you guys where it's at, and then talk about some other stuff. Okay, so we did a couple different tests. Obviously we hit about 450, and the last time that it was on the dyno it hit 515. Now you may ask yourself, okay, so does that mean it's down on power? Not necessarily, and I really don't think it is. Obviously it's coming from two different dynos. Obviously you're gonna have a little bit of discrepancy, if that's what you want to call it. Would you believe the 515 or would you believe the 450? I think the 450 number, in my opinion, it may be a little low, but it counter reacts all the live data that we get to use. So I don't know how exactly we can get the number up to be where we believe it should be. At the end of the day, we don't chase dyno numbers, we chase live data. Everything about a tune is always data. Everybody likes to see their high horsepower numbers, but at the end of the day, if you want a good quality and reliable tune, the data always will outweigh the horsepower numbers that everybody chases. At the end of the day, also, these are just a dyno tool. These are just a tooling that we have for our shop, just to be able to offer all the correct data and tuning. So, as much as I would like to chase numbers every single day, we don't. Because data always will matter every single day. Anyways, so what I did there on that last run, I upped the timing to 2 degrees, so it's a total of 20 degrees of timing at 18 psi, and it made about 407 horsepower, where the 23 psi made 450, but we're just way out of fuel pump. We even had a discussion the other day about a Walbro 255 on E85 and 1000cc injectors on a 300ZX made 550 horsepower. Obviously, that's no way possible. This has a 340 pump, 1050Xs, and it didn't even hit 450. Well, it hit 450, but reliably. So a 255 definitely isn't gonna happen. And sorry to call my boy out, but overall pump with this whole setup now. We're gonna get a new pump in there eventually, but that's at least my worries right now. I'm gonna get this thing off the dyno and then tuck it in its home for a little bit. I got a lot of other stuff going on in life, and unfortunately renewing the S15's look will have to wait. I do plan on putting a Origin Lab regime kit, if that's how you pronounce it, and then we're just gonna get it repainted. I think this time we're gonna sand it all the way down to bare metal, but in the meantime I'm building another drift car, which you guys will see eventually once we get it in here. We've got a couple months, we got a lot of stuff going on within the next couple months too. So, but I hope you guys enjoyed this content, and if you guys like this content, please like, subscribe, share, and comment. I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of, we got a lot of other cars to dyno tune too, so we're gonna go ahead and give you guys some of that as well. Like I said, this car right here, once this fuel system's buttoned up, we'll get it on the dyno. GTR doesn't necessarily need a dyno, but we did do 20 over pistons, and that's it. Just kind of refreshing RB26, so we're just going to put it on there just to be safe, run it through the gears and then break it in, and then the GR86 will be up along with the Camaro. So we're trying to get that all buttoned up during this week. Make some a little bit of power, some a little bit, maybe a lot, who knows. But like I said, like, comment, subscribe, share, help your boy out. And if you guys like this, also comment what you guys like to see. If you guys want to see some DIYs, you guys want to see some welding, do some how-tos, a little bit of everything. We'll do whatever you want. We're gonna get a lot more projects going along with this C10. So see you again next time.